So good morning and welcome everybody to 1 Million Cups. We are thrilled to see familiar faces back from Thanksgiving. Hopefully we all survived the shopping, driving, and eating. Today we are very excited to have one of our own organizers present. For those of you who are new, the Kauffman Foundation is a national organization that makes 1 Million Cups come to life across the country in over 160 chapters. And so we are a volunteer-led group. One thing you can do is you can check in to the mobile app. You can also check in online at 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. I'll put that in chat so you have it in case you need to check in. So again, welcome to our group. We have a whole host of organizers and also brand ambassadors to make this possible, make this happen. And we are thrilled to have one of our brand ambassadors as our sponsor this week too. If you're interested in being a brand ambassador or joining as an organizer, let us know. We'd be more than happy to talk to you about that and let you know what else can be done to help you test it, try it out before you commit completely to being an organizer or brand ambassador. Our mission is to remove obstacles for business owners to launch and grow their business. And so again, it is a national focus across hundreds of chapters, as I mentioned, but we are focused here in the Northern Virginia area. Although we do have presenters from all over the country, especially if they're interested in launching in this market, which is always a fascinating conversation. Our key pillars, we are all about presentations, not pitches. We look to create a community, create authentic connections. It's not about having investors or giving you funding. It's really about business owners who care about helping other businesses grow. We've all learned either through failure or success, and passing on those learnings is extremely important. And with that, I'm going to ask John Yu if you're in a place where you can speak to us about Office Evolution and Tyson's as our coffee sponsor. That would be fantastic.
Great. Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jen. Hi, I'm John Yu. I'm with Office Evolution. I'm also part of the organizing team for 1 Million Cups. We love supporting 1 Million Cups, and we've been helping them to provide space for the last few years. We provide co-working space. We're located in Tyson's Corner, provide flexible space as well as fully furnished office space. So if you are looking, or if you know somebody's looking for flexible space, please feel free to reach out to me. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you so much, John. And there's nobody like Dan Lender from Golden Rule Home Watch and Concierge. Dan, if you would speak to us about your business, that would be fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you, Jen, and good morning, everyone. Dan Lender, I own Golden Rule Home Watch and Concierge, and we look after vacant and unoccupied properties in Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C. What this means is we look after homes for people when they're out of town, or maybe we have a couple of professional athletes that go somewhere else for the off season, and we serve as our clients' eyes, ears, and feet on the street. And so that's what we do. We get to meet a lot of interesting people, and we see some amazing homes. So anyway, I can tell you more about it if anyone's interested. Dan Lender, Golden Rule Home Watch and Concierge. Thank you.
I think people want to know how they can work for you and add your company to babysit and house sit. So how our virtual meetings work, again, please stay muted. We will have our presenter present for 6 to 8 minutes. Then when they're done, we will kick off Q&A and giving ideas to our group. And you can also ask clarifying questions. That can be a powerful thing to do before you give advice to make sure you understand more about the whole situation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Leslie, our organizer, and she has presented in the past. And as most business owners know, we always have some kind of challenge facing us. So she's back with another challenge question, and we're thrilled, Leslie, to have you here. So with that, just let me know when you want me to go to the next slide, and you can kick us off.
Hi, as Jen said, my name is Leslie Archillian. I'm the owner and photographer of Rooted in Beauty Photography. I'm also an organizer with 1 Million Cups. Jen, you can head to the next slide. My challenge question is probably a little similar to my last one, but it's one that I'm still challenged with, so I'm bringing it back. What are some marketing methods that you find that are really authentic to yourself, that are fun, that are repeatable, maybe automated, but effective and bringing new leads in the door? I'm finding a lot of advice out in the interwebs, but it doesn't always feel heart-centered, if that makes sense. So I'm just exploring more ideas from the group. You can go next slide. So a little bit about me. I started my business. I started as a solopreneur or whatever. I started photographing in 2009, but I started my LLC when my son was 4 months old. So my business is a toddler, well, preschooler, I guess, as well. I've always enjoyed photographing women. I started photographing my friends in high school. I did weddings. I've done pets. I've done just a little bit of everything, but I keep coming back to wanting to take women who are seem naturally inclined to be critical of themselves and go, oh, no, I don't want any photos. I want to take them from that reaction to, oh, wow, that's me. That's what the world sees. That's not who I thought I was. Because the mirror tends to lie to us. It flips our image and gives us a false image of what we think we look like versus what everybody else sees. So I want to help a lot more women get back to loving themselves and who they are and living their best life. And getting back in front of the camera, because moms are always taking the photos. I realized this after I had my own son and I became Leslie turned into Liam's mom, or as a kid said on the playground, who do you belong to? Referring to Liam, because I belong to Liam. I absolutely do. So you can go next slide. Sorry, that was a little ramble. My company's timeline, I alluded to this a little bit. Officially, I started in 2009. My LLC started in 2019. I haven't really had a normal year. So I've been off and on with my marketing. I have had a variety of clients over the last 3 years, but between having a newborn, dealing with COVID lockdowns, and then now being a full-time stay-at-home homeschooling mama, I'm just trying to re-navigate and learn some ways to bring clients in that also don't take a lot of time away from, Liam and homeschooling and the family aspect of it. So I need something that's a little bit more automated and put together. Jen, you can go next slide. So what problems? I want to help moms. I want to help all women, but I resonate now that I am a young mom. I resonate that moms need to be in front of these photos. They need to have the memories, whether it's candid or professional. But their kids are going to want them, and I want them to be able to also in that process reclaim their identities, because like I said, you start Leslie, but then all of a sudden you're Liam's mom to everybody. So I want to bring the women's identity back early in motherhood, because a lot of people say that you need to wait until your kids are older out of a house before you can start, and I think that's nonsense. But I want to do this through my photography, yes, but also education, workshops, and community. I want to put together at least a monthly get together for moms to just get out of the house and not have to be mom for a few hours. Thank you, Jen. How do I generate revenue? Right now, it is just through one-on-one photo shoots. I do have a few ideas kind of percolating. I'd love to do a couple like marathon days where I do shorter sessions, but maybe 5 or 6 of them back to back to back. And that could be headshots, that could be, it could be family. The theme could vary. I also have an idea of a reoccurring membership idea where somebody signs up for quarterly photo shoots. And again, that could be, personal branding for a business. It could be boudoir, it could be headshots, family. but then they come back, you know, quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a nice way to refresh your photos throughout the year, even make a calendar, you know, what have you. My latest idea, and I tried to do this over Small Business Saturday and actually didn't get any nibbles, which I was sad about, but is a portrait wall gallery design service where I'll take a photo of your wall. We'll look at all the design aspects, come up with frames that match your decor, and I'll create a mock-up of what size frames you need to match your furniture and your wall space and everything like that, which is really fun for me, and it's something that's hard to do for the average person that's not an interior designer or photographer. You can go next slide, Jen. So I really want my service, my portrait photography to be very tailored to the person. I want it to have a storyteller aspect to it because everybody is a little bit different. But my main products are fairly similar to other photographers. I want to really focus on wall art. There's a psychology, especially with young children, of seeing their photos up on the wall, and just that sense of belonging and love is really strong for that aspect. But I think just being able to see your true face, like I said, the mirror image lies to us. So seeing your true face will create more self-love in the long run, because you can train yourself to know what you actually look like versus what you see in the mirror. But I also want to create a community of moms. They say it takes a village to raise a child. I have not found that village. If you have that number, please give it to me. But I want to create a more well-rounded mama that knows herself, loves herself, and we can teach that to the kids so they don't have to struggle with this nonsense. Because a lot of times mamas have the me last mindset, and I want them to know that they are more than mom and that they're not alone in this and that they can live their best life now. And I know it's through photography, but I'm going to bring some life coaching into this. Sorry, I'm rambling. Go ahead, Ben. My audience is women. I do photograph men as well, but I do tend to gravitate towards women. Somewhere between 30, 45, older, obviously, yes, also. Everybody needs this service, but typically married with school-age children. If they live in Northern Virginia, awesome. I don't really care what kind of car they drive, but I put luxury SUV. I think I put owns her own business, bachelor's, those are all good and well, but if I can help the woman find who she is and she wants to invest in this process, I'm all for having her in. But basically I'm just looking for a kind of a woman that really needs my service. I'm not that picky as of right now. All right, my values is oh, yeah, no, you can go, they can read all that. I think that's, you can go to the next slide, Jen. We went over the audience. What are some companies that could benefit from me? I put 2 down, spa treatments, life coaches, even I was thinking I could even team up with some of the schools, the PTAs, just places that moms tend to hang out. What marketing channels am I using right now? I'm kind of passive in my marketing, and that goes back to the challenge question. Currently, I'm using email sparingly. I'm also on social media with Instagram and Facebook. I have a Pinterest, which I might need to ramp up a little bit, but those are the 3 methods that I'm using beyond word of mouth. Jen, you can get to the next slide. So who are my competitors? We have kind of a scale in photography. You have the lower end who are considered the shoot and burners. Those are the ones that, you know, they come in, they don't know much about you. You get what you get. They hand you a CD, a USB, a digital download, whatever the file transfer is. You get the digitals only. There's not a lot of customization there. They might not know much about you going in, versus where I want to be and where the Style Lane photography kind of is, where you do a lot of the pre-planning ahead of time. We have a consultation. I'll come to your home. We'll help you pick out your outfits, get you a hair and makeup artist, take that photo for the wall art, you know, the mock-up up on your wall. Really make sure that we can take some of that homework off of the plate for moms, because moms are usually scheduling, wrangling the kids, getting the husband on board, trying to figure out what everybody's going to wear, and then, you know, the morning of, they're scrambling to get everybody out the door and on time, and then yelling at them to smile. And then mom always looks pissed off in the photos. I want mom to be relaxed. So she is the best looking one in this photo. So she's actually going to want to see the photos and enjoy herself in the photos later. Long-winded. Jen, you may go to the next slide. So how can I leverage competitors to expand business? I'm really a fan of the idea of community over competition. I do catch myself comparing to other photographers who have been doing this longer or have more time to take on more clients, and getting that, you know, that weight of, oh, I'm not doing very good, am I? But they're just in a different chapter of the book. So I want to be able to keep that positive mindset, know that there's somebody I can emulate or learn from, or say, oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe I can figure out how to interweave. So I try not to think of the competitors. I actually struggled with the competitors portion because I don't actually look at other local photographers. I just try not to, because I know my brain will go down the rabbit hole of what I could be doing and what I haven't been doing, and that's not healthy for me. So you can move to the next slide, Jen. So challenge question, being a mom myself, being a homeschooling full-time mom, marketing needs to be easy. It needs to be a little bit fun. I see Tess shaking her head. I guess that means it can't be. But I'm just looking for some different, fresher ideas, because I feel stuck. There has to be something that's a little bit more automated, a little bit heart-centered. And I'm interested to see what you guys do to keep it, or how you interweave it with your busy schedules, because I know everybody here is busy, and how you keep it fresh and on top of your brain to do it and not push it off to the side. So that's my long-winded
No, that was
presentation.
perfect. We loved your presentation. Thank you for sharing and presenting. I'm going to hand it over to Tess, who's moderating our Q&A, and she's going to lead us through this fun conversation. I know Dan Lunder is like dying to chime in with his
Yes,
thoughts.
I know. So am I. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you would raise your hand with the icon, that would be great. I will call on you. We will call on Dan first. I'm going to actually, because I've got a bunch of stuff going in my brain already, and I think we've chatted before. So, but there are some ideas. So we're going to start off with Mr. Lunder.
Thank you for volunteering me, Jen. I think I respect everything that you said in being a new mom and having a little one and trying to grow your business. And so I don't really have a question so much as I admire that what you're doing, and 1 Million Cups is absolutely the right group, or one of the right groups to talk to, because you have a lot of smart people like Jen Dalton and Tess that will and tell you what you should do and what your best path forward is. So good luck and thanks for presenting this morning.
Okay, you can put your questions in the chat or you can raise your hand. I will go ahead and take the floor for a couple of minutes. So for me, I can tell you that women will look, you're right, you're absolutely right. I'm a mom of 4, I'm a grandmother of 6. So we always put everybody else first, right? Make sure everybody's where they need to be. My suggestion, sports moms. And that's because when I started my business, that's where I was. So that's where I found the moms. I was hanging out with all the sports moms and the sports grandmothers, you know, because they're all getting their kids together. That's a great place to start finding some potential clients. They are on the go. They are on the sidelines or in the bleachers during practices. I mean, they're there. So if you're, it's a great place for you to start, even though Liam is maybe not necessarily, you know, he may not be sports minded. That's actually where you're going to find your niche. I used to actually teach classes in my home, just kind of like paper crafting, just to get them to do something for themselves and to have fun. But those were sports moms. And I knew that they were short and that I can, like kids could only have their attention for so long before they needed to get a child or a husband or whatever, or, you know, a wife somewhere else. So it was short periods of time. So I like the, you know, where you come in and you might have a bunch of appointments that are very quick. The other thing is look at milestone birthdays, because that's a lot of times where women will actually, you know, do something fun for themselves. And sometimes you might not want to focus on one person. It might be like a bunch of sisters celebrating, you know, their youngest sister's 25th birthday or something, where you have a group of women together. Same thing with business women. If you've got business, that's one of the things I'm trying to do right now in Old Town, is get some of those female business owners together. So that might be a good way for you to, you know, maybe go down in, you know, in a neighborhood or Old Town or wherever, and find a few female business owners together and say, hey, would you like to do like a neighborhood or a like collaborative female business community? And they can use, you know, you can shoot them individually, you can shoot them as a group. And what they can do is they can use that on their social and in their marketing, you know, where they're like a unified group. Because a lot of times when you see female owners, business owners, they are thinking more competitive, right? Because they're not like you and I, where we would rather collaborate. So I've got lots of ideas for you. We probably should just sit down and have some lunch.
Yeah, Tess, let's do it. Liam's actually in ice skating, so I'll talk to some of the moms and pick their brains on this.
Yeah, and you know what? If they're okay with it, see if you just ask them if they would mind once in a while, if you could just do a couple of, you know, just tell them that you're working with a new lens or something, and you'd like to take some candid shots in practice or whatever, or during a game where they're cheering their kids, and then show it to them. You know, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't, you're not doing a, you know, especially if it's during practice, you're not doing like work, but you are doing some test shots, right? And sometimes just test shots and showing them, you know, what you do and what those candid shots could look like. A lot of times they're like, oh, wow, you know, that's really cool. Can I buy some prints? I mean, like I've done things like that, just even on the sideline.
I did that at a playground. Obviously, I asked mom before I took any photos, but showed on the back camera, and they're like, oh, I love that. So I emailed it to them. Or at the dog park, I do it every once in a while. So that
Okay.
is great.
All right, so we're going to get back to our group here. Oops, with our hands raised. Jen, I'm not actually seeing them now. Can you assist?
I can tee up John Norris and then I'll go, and then John Lindbergh.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Leslie. Two things really come to mind, and I don't think you should apologize or say that you're doing something wrong by not looking at your competition. I believe that you work on things you can control, which is your product, your service, your messaging, your everything. And I don't think that's a wrong business strategy. I think spending time to make sure you're always the best you can be is really the best you can be. I obviously am not a mom. I'm not a grandma. I don't have Tessa's resume, but I think your challenge is, to me, just reading all your messaging, is that the person you're going after, it's time. I think it's getting Jen Dalton to go, Jen, you need to set an hour to come take pictures. And I think if you're trying to solve a problem, and again, this is just my perception, my girlfriend's a very busy person, woman, mom, all those things, is that if you could say, I have a 60-minute solution, give me 1 hour and I can do all these things, photography. I think your messaging gets a little jumbled in that you want to help them do these other things, but you got to do one thing first. That is get pictures. You can't solve the world problems in one meeting. So trying to message that I'm going to take pictures and put you in front of the camera and make you feel great and all the, you got to start with one hook. There's got to be something that they put in their basket first. You can't put 6 things in if there's no room for it. So my advice is to find something like the 60-minute, overnight sensation, amazing hour of time with Leslie, and then you work from there. But I think time, just reading your profile of a person is time. So that's my 2 cents.
No, I love that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rudenberg would be next.
I think Jen was next. Am I correct? Yeah, please, Jen, go.
I'll just jump in real quick. I think for marketing, one of the things I think is very important is to have a repeatable strategy. So I look at marketing from a monthly planning standpoint. I think it's important to identify you really only have bandwidth to do 2 or 3 marketing campaigns at any given point. One would just be raise awareness, right? So have some standard photos, value props, case studies, before, after, whatever, that you can market on a regular basis. It might be once a week, twice a week. The more you can do it, the more people will see it. I think there's a second marketing campaign around truly trying to book clients into a type of product or service. So Tess mentioned, getting together with women groups and like 50 milestones, right? Birthday milestones, whatever. I love the idea of doing like a sip and snap where I can invite 5 of my girlfriends. We come to your place or meet somewhere for an hour. I love John's point about an hour. We have, wine or whatever, and we get photos of us as a group of girlfriends, whether we're in the same business networking group like Women in Business at the Tower Club or whatever. But I think there is a package there where I could pay a certain dollar amount, or all of the girlfriends could, and we could pay, and it's still only an hour. And you take pictures of us together as a group, individually, and you make memories, and it's really fun. So I think like that sip and snap idea is fantastic. Feel free to use that name if you want. The other thing I was thinking is there are plenty of women who do design, like fashion design, right? So Robin Fennell has Fashion Studio of McLean. It could be you do it almost like a little fashion show where you partner with local businesses and they have their clients come in and you take pictures at their location. So anyways, I think as you go into the holiday season and New Year, there's some really fun campaigns and gifts that you could do. Like I would love to invite girlfriends to a photo shoot, and it can't be too expensive, but it certainly needs to make you money. But if you do 6 people at once, you can charge a little bit more, but it's not like you're charging 6 people individually, right? Because you're compressing it. So I think there's a win-win there. But I'll stop there. I'd love to see what other folks like John Rudenberg think.
Yes, please. Thank you, Jen.
First of all, I'm laughing. So for this group, I feel honored to be sitting among 8 other really great minds. And Leslie, thank you so much for presenting. For this group, you should know that on Monday, we didn't really have a presenter. And that's really mission critical to all 9 of us. So please take that away as you leave this meeting. We need presenters. So Leslie, what you're doing by presenting is amazing. And it's a little bit of a commercial for my business. So we'll go offline and talk about the automation aspects. But narrowing your messaging and segmenting your big range of contacts into groups. The automation is easy and the messaging is straightforward. You describe the anguish and the bad, the mirror image. So those are among the pain points that immediately turn around into, again, narrow messaging that John mentioned. And going to the hooks, I would throw in intergenerational, getting grandma, ma, and the kids. And I always put my kids and my wife first, so I clearly came fourth. By the way, I just like to be, I was also last. I'd like to at least be on record. But you have the notion of going after the moms who feel that anxiety. I understand that completely as a dad of a daughter and a husband. And staying out, PTAs, what Jen just said is amazing. And I would ask the marketing people offline, or maybe it's worth a discussion. Like you said, you emailed those. If you're taking the kids' pictures and then you send it to a mom, mail it to them, physically mail it to them in a cardboard frame, I think that's amazing advertising for when they want to buy.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe there's a caption that captures that day, and on the back is your contact information. And other people would know better if you give it away. I just think it's good promotion. And what the 5 people who come to Jen's Sip and Shoot, Sip and Snap, whatever, they're customers forever. I'd bet dollars that 3 of the 5 people, when they have a need, are going to think of you, especially you have their contact information, and with the automation. Just staying in touch with those people seasonally, etc., will keep you top of mind. And thank you very much. I love that you shared. My last comment is you have 2 goals. Stick to the photography, ma'am. You're trying to have balance in your life. I love the other side of life coaching, but there's a lot of interference. Do your photography. You'll be helping a lot just by being a good friend and contributing to the community.
Yeah. There's a lot of like therapy during the session too. So it goes hand in hand always. But yes, I agree. I'm trying.
Well, congratulations.
Shiny objects. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, John Norris and Dan Lender, are your hands still up? Or have you raised them again? If so, let's go with John Norris and then we can go to Dan.
All right. I was expecting Dan to go again. You know, Leslie, years ago, I helped a young lady start a gym, and she was a personal trainer. So if she does one-on-one training just for simple math, she makes $100 an hour. So what I proposed and what works is that we do group training, because you can get 6 people for $50 and generate $300 in that hour, and obviously increase your revenue. So my point is, I'm supporting greatly the idea that Jen has of these group photo sessions, because it's more affordable and you actually make more revenue. Like, to me, if you said, I want to train you one-on-one for $100 an hour, it's a waste of time. I'd be like, because probably 30 minutes I'm actually active in that hour and other 30 minutes I'm resting. So why would I pay you $100 for an hour when I'm probably only exercising 30 minutes? So it's the same kind of concept. If you can make it more affordable and people to say yes, it's not, I'm not using Groupon because Groupon's a loser, but using that mentality of more people in that 1 hour, you're going to increase your revenues. I just think that that's, a no-brainer. And I just, to echo again what I had said and with John Rutenberg again, and maybe it's just a guy thing, but if I'm looking to pay someone for a service, I'm looking for one thing. I'm looking to pictures. If we have a conversation about something on the side, that's fine. But I think you may scare off some people going, look, I just want pictures. I'm not really into a therapy session. I think your messaging would have to be very, delicate if it's just me. I don't know how it's processed, but sometimes you try to fit too much in one. Your intentions are good and people will know that, and that's why they'll come back to you. But you don't have to advertise everything that you want to do, because the messaging gets jumbled. So that's
No, I agree. I've got a lot of spider webs, and it's hard to pinpoint it down to where it needs to be sometimes. I agree with you.
Okay, we'll go to Dan.
Thanks again. And I thought of a question. When I first started, we started our business back in 2017. And initially it was just overwhelming. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And somebody gave me the best advice when I started, was that just focus on doing what you want to do and be very good at it. Right. So, and then the other things, marketing and everything else will come along. And then in the process, you'll find out, and maybe you're already there, which clients that you want to work with and who your clients you want them to be. Because I tell people, we're not after, in my business, we're not after speeds and feeds. We have 100% client retention, and we're getting more of the clients that we want, right? Because and that'll dictate the marketing and how your business development and where you go at. So I hope this is helpful. It's been really good advice to me, is that go to the customers and the geography that you want. And you'll refine that as you're in business longer, but it's also the first thing to do is be very good at what you do. So I like Jen's idea of the I'm sorry, the name of it. I'm struggling with that too. I keep thinking slip and slide, but that's not it, because that's for little kids. But
Sip and snap.
Yes, thank you, John. Thank you, John. By the way, John, you should have a radio program, because with that voice of yours. But anyway, sip and snap, I think it's a great idea, because where this will go is that word of mouth, and it's cheap marketing and advertising, and you get more of the people that you want. And as you're in business longer, you will find that it's much more pleasurable dealing with the people that you want than just people calling in, and it's probably going to be more profitable too. So anyway, first thing is just be really good at what you do, because there's a lot of people that take pictures, but not everyone does the same thing. And so if someone's looking for a specific quality that you offer, then that will be good for you. So anyway, just be very good at what you do.
Thank you, Dan. Mr. Rittenberg, do you have another question?
Yeah, does Norse go first? Okay. I'm just protecting the rights of others.
Go ahead, Rutenberg.
No problem. Thank you, buddy. So you asked about how to increase revenue. And you also mentioned ideas that I wrote down, so I can't take credit. One of them related to wall art. Now, this relates both to product sales and messaging, because wall art is definitely hot and something that is worth exploring. So one of the challenges is you have these 9 different pictures that you want to put up. Where do they go, etc. My daughter got, and it may have been from FrameBridge, which framebridge.com is an online framing company. But based on frames, they gave her a paper layout that she taped to the wall where the nails go for the different frames.
Oh, that's cool.
So that may require exploration, and I don't know anything beyond. I stood there and helped her tape it up, and I was floored by the ingenuity. It was fabulous. But also you mentioned calendars. So both are products. That one's a seasonal kind of thing. But I'm trying to be sensitive to your balance of life and working where it's intensive labor time, that's lower profit, if you will. And it's lower on the balance range.
Mhm.
So where you can productize, I may have just made up a word, revenue, that's worth exploring. So again, happy to discuss it offline further. But there are probably smarter people in this room on that. But the calendar thing, to me, there are calendars, but you're in the business of, and I think that's a more viable revenue source over time where people are buying from you every year.
I like it. Okay, thank you.
And back to Mr. Norris.
I have to comment on Dan Lender's comment about Rutenberg, and that is he absolutely has the face for radio. I couldn't agree more. The voice for television. Hey, Leslie, I was just again thinking about some things, and it is that, you know, how do you differentiate? And you're differentiating your service by your demographic that you're going after. And what I'm thinking about is like, how does that differentiate from the other photographers? Is there something in the way that you provide your service? Again, if it's the 1 hour, the quick thing, something that cuts through. Jen Dalton's the best noise to establish you as some kind of different photographer than, because defining an audience is one thing. Like my business is defined by old people. They have to be a certain age to be on Medicare. I don't define that audience. It defined itself. We just service it. So what I'm wondering to you is, while it's great that you have a niche market that you want to go after, the perception of the consumer is why you versus anyone else. You see a lot of things. For example, I make a comparison. You see people that claim to be a senior real estate expert. They're an expert in selling people's houses who are older and aging. At the end of the day, I just want a realtor to sell my house for the most money. Now, there's an emotional part of that sale that it helps to say, I understand you're downsizing, you know, you raised your kid. I get that. But at the end of the day, I want someone who can sell my house for the most value. So in your service, I'm saying, I want to know that you're still a great photographer, defining your market to say, I care, I'm passionate about moms. Great, great. But that doesn't help me get confidence in how the quality of your photography is, or what would make you different. Again, Jen is the best I know at messaging, but that's just another idea I had. And I can just speak again real quick on personal, you know, Jen helped us with our messaging. I mean, it absolutely, you know, it's important.
Thank you, John. And with that, we're going to take the last comment or question from Ms. Dalton.
Thank you, Tess. Great comments, great ideas. I think the two thoughts I'd leave you with, one thought and one question, Leslie. The identity piece, right? Knowing, reclaiming your identity is a huge differentiator. So I pursue that message and line of thinking. So, you know, to John's point about if you have a calendar, well, if I'm taking these photos for my husband to know who I am, my kids to remember who I am, they're going to be around for in perpetuity, my girlfriends to know who I am. Maybe you want to have, you know, a crazy fun photo. Maybe you want to have photos with quotes that you hold up as a person to say, here's who I am, here's what I believe. I'm not sure, but it is that storytelling of who am I through photos. So we can talk more about that, but I think that identity storytelling piece is huge. How do you reclaim your story as a mom, because you also have a new identity as a mom. So our question for you would be, what else can we do to help you as you look ahead into December and 2023? How can our community help you?
I think just keeping an ear out if you, as you're, with the sports moms or with any moms or business owners that you think might benefit or would want to do a sit and snap, pass my name along. Visibility is hard for me personality wise. So I'm trying to push past that. So anything you guys can do to get me out of my comfort zone and into the limelight in front of new people would be awesome. Not limelight exactly, but
So I will be happy to be your first customer for the sip and snap.
Awesome.
I just need you to come up with a price and we can work on messaging and all of that, but as a holiday gift to girlfriends, or we all get together. Because I do think people right now want to reconnect. So that kind of an informal setting where you get together and you're doing a group photo, people to get just could be lots of fun. So thank you for that. We do actually have a presenter for next week. John Foster said he would, and it's on recording. Can you say it again just to make sure?
Yeah. So Jen, just to clarify that, it will Gwen will probably present, and I will probably participate that as well.
Perfect.
So I'll get that. I'll get Gwen connected as well. So it should be a fairly easy, straightforward. I am excited about it because of the challenge question. So looking forward to it. I did want to real quick, Leslie. I was driving, and so I was challenged to participate. I pulled over, but I think one of the things about what you're doing is, and going back to what Jen had mentioned about, finding identity. I can't tell you the number of people that are challenged with that. In what I find that when I'm teaching LinkedIn, people are so challenged in finding their identity. And I know you're kind of focused on women, which absolutely, I think that's a great market. And the other thing, which I will say, is that having the niche, and you know what your niche is. I'm a huge, fan of LinkedIn. And I think part of that goes back to demographics, because you're also going to be challenged with the people that you're targeting, the need as well as the ability to pay. So from a business standpoint, so just to think about that. But I love what you're doing. And I think that identity piece and, all the things we were talking about here today were awesome. So I appreciate the group.
Thank you, John. All right, so our schedule, as we said, we'll have Green Fair next week. We still have an opening on the 14th. I think the 21st, we would love to have a presenter, but if that doesn't work out, we'll have it be a holiday. And the 28th, although we have it as a holiday, wanted to throw out the idea to the group. Maybe it's a marketing brainstorming session where, Tess and myself and others can help facilitate a planning conversation on how are you marketing for 2023. But just something that adds value to the community. So if that's of interest, or if folks have other thoughts on how to leverage that time, given we may not have a presenter, but we could still use that time for some group think and some really fun outcomes. Tess and I think they're fun for marketing. I don't know if everybody else does. But if there's feedback on that, please let us know if that is of interest.
That works for me.
Okay. Tess, do you have a preference on date?
No, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, so I'm open.
Perfect. All right, so we'll work on that. We'll finalize the details and put that out in our marketing as well. I only know which events I'm going to. Sorry for the Jingle and Mingle Rest and Chamber. It's tomorrow night. If there are other events that are coming up that people know about, please share. We'll add more events on here for next week as well. But the Jingle Mingle at Rest and Chamber is lots of fun. And again, that's tomorrow.
When is that?
It's tomorrow night from 6 to 9.
Yeah.
No.
It was next week. Gotta have a chance. Hey, I just want to share real quick. I was down at my alma mater last week, University of Richmond, and they have a Million Cups that is actually on the campus, and it's kind of unique, obviously, in that you have students. Not, I would say, let's say there were 12 to 15 people. I think you had 2 students. But what's interesting is they run their meeting. It's in person, obviously, we're not. But it's kind of interesting in that if I was the presenter, that Jen is the moderator, and she's sitting up in this, like their interview, like she's
On a
interviewing me.
pedestal. Okay, got
And
it.
she asks questions and kind of engages you in that conversation. Obviously, they do open it up to the floor for comments and questions at any point. But it was just kind of interesting to just see how they usually try to do 2 presenters per meeting too. And then the other thing Ken had shared with me, Portnoy, that Loudon has one that meets in person at One Loudon maybe, or somewhere out there. And these meetings, they actually pitch businesses. So I'm going to go out there next month. I think it's December 14th or something. I think Ken and I are going to go out there to just check it out. I'm only throwing out there for I'm just interested. If you know me, I'm kind of a business nerd. I just love business. So for me to just sit there and watch how it works would be interesting. But all well, like the Richmond meeting was very well run. Really nice people, obviously similar to what we are. I just thought it was cool to just participate, and it was nice to be. I'm not where I live to Tyson isn't exactly the easiest commute, but being back in person was definitely fun. There's no doubt that. Although I hope Rutenberg stays in New Jersey. I'm sorry, that was my outdoor voice. Hi, Rutenberg. Sorry, I slipped on that one.
This group makes me stronger, tougher. I'll stop there. It's perfect.
Hey, Leslie, do you mind putting your email in chat just so we can check out your website, check out and respond to you via email too? I think, getting back in person is always up for discussion. So if anybody knows of a space, let us know. Virtual has its benefits too, but I think maybe we do need to have an in-person, even if it's one a month or something like that. Leslie, do you mind if we put that in broader chat?
So I want to go back to Leslie's challenge question for a minute, because Jen, I think your idea is so smart, and some advice you gave is you can only do max 3 different things in marketing campaigns at any given time. And so, Leslie, in your own community, maybe there are 10 Jens. No, there is only 1 Jen, but 9 other people who would be willing to do sip and snaps over, I love these big terms, Q1 23, right? Besides the fact for the next holidays, it's a great holiday season kind of thing. So you have to think about in the different holidays when a sip and snap might be really great. We have different holidays in the year. But just in general, once you get past La La Land of the holidays and January 1st, and we're now in mid-January, and it's cold, and in your specific geographic area and your target audience, finding 10 women who are your peers, your buddies, because then you have 50, of which, let's say, I don't know, X percent, whatever is the right percent of that 50, become customers. It's awesome.
Hey, John.
Please.
I just real quick, I figure I'd throw, since we've got 3 Johns on the call, I wanted to throw my hat in the ring. What you're talking about really is it's kind of the ambassador idea. And I think that idea, and I want to bring that up at a later date with regards to Green Fair, because we do have an ambassador program. We have one here. And so that, I think that may be worthy of discussion on how, what does a good ambassador program look like? You know, what are the pieces of it, and how do we make it more effective? So I like what you're saying, John. It's really a way to leverage people who are involved in what you're doing. And so whether it's, you know, it's maybe just kind of rebranding, you know, the people you've worked with already and turning them into ambassadors and kind of formalizing a referral process and, you know, additional marketing.
And I think that the pressure you're feeling, Leslie, and I think all entrepreneurs feel this, is chicken and egg. Marketing first, business development, clients later. Reality check, just as John was talking about, ambassador program. You need to have somebody do the sip and snap immediately, so you can market, here's what I'm doing, here's some photos from
Yep.
the shoot, right?
That's right.
And so you need the chicken and the egg now, right?
Yes,
But you need
Yeah.
content to market to be able to show,
Right.
here's what I do. It's super fun testimonial. So
Mhm.
I think sometimes business owners get stuck in marketing. Go do your business, right? Take pictures,
That's right.
get examples, get a case study, move forward.
Yeah,
That
I've
will make marketing so much easier once you have
Yeah.
some
Right.
examples.
I've actually done this informally when I was testing out a new light or something. I'd invite a bunch of friends over and we did
perfect.
a photo wine night.
Make
It
that
was a
make
lot
that
of
an
fun.
example, right? So nobody needs to know that you are testing out a lens.
That's right.
Mhm.
Just say, here's a sip and snap I did last year with my girlfriends, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, right? We don't need
Yeah.
to confess whether it's a real shoot or not. You have
Yeah.
pictures, you did it, you have photos, it counts.
No, that's-
So I'm sure
very
Tess would agree, and feel free to chime in, but just from a time standpoint, most everybody on this call are organizers. So I'm gonna say this slide. Do follow us on social. We do have a much easier way to apply now, where it's literally click the link, fill out some questions, and your presentation is made. You can apply 1millioncups.com/Fairfax. And we would love to have folks on this call. So I'm thrilled, John Foster, that you're presenting. But Tess or others, John Norris, in the new year, when you're past your crazy time right now, you know, let us know if you want to present as well. We'd love to
Yeah.
have our community here get featured and get
Yeah.
some time.
I don't know if my skin can handle John Rutenberg's abuse. That's what's concerning me.
You can't
You
is the
can do
answer.
it.
Let's
I'm
get
not
the
sure.